We've done the Championship. Let's take a step down the EFL ladder and look into League One ahead of the 2024-25 campaign and my 1 to 24 predictions for the upcoming third tier season. So without any further ado, let's get straight into it. We'll start with 24th and work our way upwards. Remember, in League One, the bottom 4 are relegated to League Two, unlike the Championship, where it's the bottom 3 that are relegated to League One. So this makes it all that more difficult to predict teams that will be relegated and makes it a little bit more of a brutal league in many respects, and ultimately leads to more turnover as well. I think the most popular pick, alongside someone else near the top of League One, will be Crawley to finish 24th, and that is what I've gone for as well. There are a multitude of reasons for this. I like Scott Lindsay, and I think he masterminded that playoff campaign against MK Dons and then against Crewe Alexandra in the final really, really well. But to have all your best players, really, the most important, integral players sold underneath you, and then the recruitment this summer has been decent in terms of incomings, but it's just not been anywhere near the adequate quality to replace them. Goalkeeper Corey Adai and then Liam Kelly and Lawrence Maguire all going out the door. It's just a complete mess at Crawley, and ultimately the ownership has let Scott Lindsay, who I think is a very good manager, down here. So Crawley, they might have that fighting spirit, but unfortunately I don't see it, and I think they'll be relegated back down to League Two and bottom. In 23rd, I've gone with Gary Monk and his Cambridge United side. Monk has been out of the game for a while since leaving Sheffield Wednesday. Came back into Cambridge back end of last season, kept them up. I do like the recruitment this summer. Shane Lavery scored goals at Championship level. Gary Gardner and Corey Smith provide experience in midfield, while Taylor Richards provides a bit of an X factor. And then you've already got the kind of base of Elias Kachunga, Salif Kaikai, Jordan Cousins, who are all done it at a fairly higher level than, no disrespect, Cambridge are at. So I do like that, but it's the overall quality of the side, and compared to other teams in and around the bottom 6 area of League One, I'm just not seeing it. So sorry, Cambridge, I've got you going down second bottom. In 22nd, I've gone with Shrewsbury Town. Shrewsbury have been in the League One setup for a while. They've achieved that one third place finish under Paul Hurst, who's now their manager again, but since then haven't really done anything of massive gravitas since. They've lost Dan Odo, they've lost Shea Dunkley. Shea Dunkley going to Chesterfield will be massively disappointing. Dan Odo to a fellow League One rival in Wycombe as well. So it's massively concerning from that aspect. And then the incomings, they've basically just looked at Bristol Rovers release list and gone, we'll have some of that. John Rossiter, John Marcus and Luca Hall have all come in. And it's just, I'm not convinced by the quality and the teams that are coming up from League Two this season being particularly strong. I don't see Shrewsbury surviving in League One. I'm sorry, Shrewsbury fans. It can very much prove me wrong. They've been in League One for a while. They probably know their way out of kind of sticky situations, but I just don't see it this season. In 21st, and my final relegation spot, and this is incredibly harsh because Northampton and John Brady had an excellent season, first season back in League One last term, finishing 14th after promotion from League Two. But they have lost key players, and Sam Sherring and Lewis Laperere have both gone out the door, whilst incoming's been decent. It's just not to the same level. Tommy Eaves has proven goal scorer in League One level. Jack Baldwin's come in from Ross County. Cameron McGeehan's come in from Colchester. Liam McCracken's come in from Stoke as well. It's that combined with the fact that I just don't think they're going to be able to compete with teams just above them as well. I feel like Northampton might just get sucked in and eventually get relegated as well. Sorry, Northampton fans. In 20th and narrowly escaping relegation is newly promoted Mansfield Town, and under Nigel Clough, they've got a lot of experience in that team, like Aidan Flint. They've also got quality with Davis Keeler-Dunn, and they've also added to that with the likes of Will Evans and Lee Gregory, who are two kind of different ends of the career, but Will Evans had a really promising season in League Two with Newport, and Lee Gregory has scored goals in League One and at Championship levels before, whilst Keanu Bacchus has been touted by Championship clubs in the not-so-recent past, so that's an excellent coup from a Mansfield perspective. So I think they'll have enough grit, enough experience, more than enough experience, and Nigel Clough is a really good manager, so I'll have them surviving just in 20th. In 19th, I have got Stevenage under Alex Ravel. There would be a drop down of 10 places from an impressive 9th place finish under Steve Evans and latterly Alex Ravel as well. But I think a lot of why Stevenage was so good last season after promotion from League Two was Steve Evans, and then Alex Ravel, tried this job before, hasn't really worked out. I do like, the players there, and Tyree Simpson is a very good signing as well, and Charlie Good on a permanent deal is a really good signing as well. Just don't feel like ninth was a fair representation of the quality they really had, and a lot of that was Steve Evans, and whether Alex Raval can replicate that, it will be really, really difficult. So yeah, I've got Stevenage dropping 10 places. Not enough to get relegated. I think they'll still have enough quality within them, but it'll be tough for Stevenage to replicate the heights of ninth from last season. In 18th, and probably one of the most fascinating teams in League One this season, it is Burton Albion and Mark Robinson. Burton have brought in a hell of a lot of players and have got new ownership. There's a real positive feeling around the club, but I just feel like other teams I'm going to mention just above them have a little bit more stability, have a little bit more continuity, and probably a little bit more well-rounded squads. And Burton, I think, will take time to kind of start gelling under Mark Robinson. So despite them signing some really good players like Billy Bowden, like Danilo Orsi, like Bayrami, I just feel like they'll take a bit of time to gel, and ultimately that might be a little bit of the reason why Burton aren't much higher in this list than where I've put them in 18th. In 17th, I have gone with Exeter. They are a funny old team. Always, each season without fail, they're normally tipped to go down. But Gary Caldwell and previous managers like Matt Taylor, they just seem to find a way in League One to Exeter in recent seasons anyway. They've lost Will Amerson, which is a big loss, but continuity with Gary Caldwell, and they've brought in some decent players like Tristan Cranmer and Lone Joe Whitworth as well. They have got relative quality, and as I said, stability and continuity in League One is very important. So I've got Exeter surviving again in 17th place. In 16th position, very similar to Exeter, I've got Richie Wellens and Leyton Orient. Now, I really like Richie Wellens, and despite this being a drop down of 5 places in the League One table, I just feel, as I said, for other teams as well, the quality around them is quite high this season, particularly in the mid-table region in League One. So I feel like it will be a bit of a struggle for Leyton Orient, but if they can get their act together, they've got lots of quality in that side, like Charlie Kellman and Tony Perkins and Lewis Warrington, good players in there. So it's just about whether they can get things moving in the right direction. I think, despite, as I said, 5 places, it won't feel like too much of a regression. So yeah, 16th place, I've got Leyton Orient. In 15th place, and you can see my allegiances here, so I'll try and be as unbiased as possible. I've got Bristol Rovers in at 15th. Similar to Burton, they've been one of the busiest sides in League One this season. They have made some decent signings. Josh Griffith, Promise on Macheri, Isaac Hutchinson, I really liked at Walsall last season. Real Satura, I can't say his name, from Leyton Orient, he looks good. Ex-Bristol City Taylor Moore as well has come in on a free transfer. So I do like the incomings. It's just about whether they can gel properly, and I'm not particularly convinced by Matt Taylor in terms of whether he can get this Bristol Rovers side moving in the right direction, pushing the top half with his style of football and other competitors around League One. So that's why I've got Bristol Rovers in at 15th. I've got Reading in at 14th, and I've got this bit of a climb purely because of Ruben Sellers and that kind of continuity. Again, stability is very important in League One, and having him for a full season, his second full season at Reading, will be very important. So I think that, combined with the fact they have some good players like Sam Smith, Harvey Nibbs, Charlie Savage, all around that kind of front region, is important. And yeah, I've got Reading moving up the league despite no real additions to the squad this summer so far. In at 13th place, I have got League Two champions Stockport County. They've once again made some impressive additions to what was already a very good side at League Two level that looked like it was going to easily compete at League One level. So bringing Louis Barry back on loan, Teo Dramola on loan, Lewis Furioni on permanent deal for Manchester City, really impressive midfielder. Sam Hughes and Corey Dye have both been brought in, who are just really solid, players at this level. Corey Dye, really integral to that Crawley team last season. So I just really like it. David Chandler's a really good manager, so I expect Stockport to be absolutely fine this season and be a little bit better than fine. I see them pushing the top half. Right. In at 12th then. It's a bit of a surprise, I have to admit. And I have put Barnsley in at 12th, and this would mean a bit of a regression from last season's playoff finish. It just felt like such a mess towards the back end of last season, sacking Neil Collins and then not having a manager for the playoff campaigning. It's a really good Bolton side. They pushed Bolton close because they have quality in that side. They had quality in that side. But it just never felt kind of cohesive. They've lost Devante Cole, Robbie Cundy, Herbie Kane, Ollie Shaw, John Williams, Nicky Cadden. It just feels like such a kind of turnover, and whether Darrell Clark can handle that will be interesting. He's brought back Conor Hourihane and Mark Roberts, both provide experience at League One level, and relatively decent players. I'm sure they can still do it at League One level. It just doesn't feel, something just doesn't feel like Barnsley, really. It normally feels like there's something cohesive going on, and just feels off this season. So that's why I've got Barnsley still in the top half, but dropping down to 12th. In at 11th is the box office side, Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds, all of that good stuff. I've got Wrexham in 11th. I do like the recruitment again this summer. Dan Scarr and Callum Burton both been picked up from Plymouth Argyle. George Dobson, they made a best of that situation with his kind of contract situation over at the Hungarian league, which is a complete mess there. Sebastian Revan, Lewis Brunt have both been brought in on a permanent deal. Probably the most important one, though, is Arthur Conway, who's been brought in on a permanent deal on a free transfer as well from Arsenal. So that's a massive, massive signing. I just feel like they'll be able to make that step up and finish in the top half. They can do it under Phil Parkins. They've got enough quality, enough money in them as well. So I feel like they'll make that step up into 11th quite comfortably. In at 10th, I have got Peterborough. And this is a massive gamble on my part, I have to admit, and probably worse than the Barnsley shout, in all honesty. But the reason I'm backing against Peterborough in League One, and they're normally up there, aren't they, under Darren Ferguson, is that they've lost Harrison Burrows, Josh Knight, Ronnie Edwards, Ephron Mason-Clark, Jonathan Clark-Harris. Granted, he wasn't playing as much as the back end of last season. It's just really difficult for me to foresee the side losing that much quality and then to be able to replace them with adequate quality whilst signing players from the National League, who I'm sure will be very good players, but it's just hard to see that and then kind of sustaining a playoff finish. It would be really difficult on my part, from me to see that. So that's why I've got Peterborough regressing and into 10th. In at 9th, and another side just missing out on the playoffs, I've gone with Wycombe, actually. They look a very good unit this time around. The football they were playing under Matt Bloomfield was very different to one that brought them immense success with Gareth Ainsworth, but I feel like it's a bit more adaptable to kind of modern football and League One this time round. So I do like what they're doing. And yeah, the tweaks they've made to the squad this summer, rather than wholesale changes, I like as well. Alex Hartridge, Dan O'Doe, Nathan Bishop add quality. So I like what Matt Bloomfield's building there, and I anticipate another climb up from this Wycombe side. So I've got them in at 9th and narrowly missing out on the playoffs. In at 8th, and you could very much call Wigan Athletic League One specialists, and under Sean Maloney, they've got a good manager. And this summer, they've added some good, decent quality. They've brought back Luke Thomas on loan, Joe Hugel's coming, Toby Sibbick's coming on a permanent as well. I like the additions, but as I've said for other teams, the teams I'm going to mention in a minute, it just feels like maybe Wigan don't have the adequate quality to go and compete against them, and maybe they're just lacking that little bit more thin layer of stardust, and maybe they'd be up there. But at the moment, I've got Wigan just missing out in 8th. At 7th, I've gone with Blackpool, and again, Blackpool to miss out on the playoffs like they did last season. I like the summer recruitment. Lee Evans, Elton Baggett, Hayden Coulson, Zach Ashworth, decent players. But then not being able to secure George Byers and losing Marvin Ekpiteta is a bit of a massive blow to their playoff aspirations. And I just feel like, can Neil Critchley work that magic he did a couple of seasons ago when Blackpool were promoted to through the playoffs and then finished 16th in the Championship? I just feel like maybe that ship has sailed a little bit, and maybe this is the kind of level Blackpool are at now. So I've got them missing out on the playoffs yet again. There's a long way to go in this transfer window. If they can improve a little bit more, they might be in the conversation very much so for the top 6, and maybe even put them in there. Into the top 6 then. In 6th position, I've gone with Michael Scubalars, Lincoln City. They were so impressive to us the back end of last season and showed real quality, played some really good football, and went on a ridiculous unbeaten run, and just kind of strayed away towards the back end of last season. Can they replicate the same thing? Obviously, they won't continue that same form for the whole 46 games, but I feel like they have enough in them to go and produce a playoff finish. And Michael Scuba is a really good manager, so I trust them, and I think they'll have enough in them to go and finish in the playoffs this time around. In at 5th, I've gone with Nathan Jones and Charlton Athletic. Nathan Jones is a bit of an interesting figure because he's a really good manager. He's only really shown it at Luton, and his work at Stoke and Southampton have been a bit, it was a disastrous spell of both clubs. So whether he can kind of navigate that and at Charlton show that these this squad has a lot of quality in it. And despite losing Alfie May, they've brought in Gassan Ahmadi and Matt Godden to kind of replace that. Greg Doherty, Luke Berry add quality in midfield. Alex Mitchell adds quality at centre back as well. So they've got a really good squad. Losing Alfie May is massive, but I think they should have enough under a really good manager in Nathan Jones to finish in the playoffs and have a real good crack at promotion yet again. In at fourth, and my first newly relegated side from the Championship, is Huddersfield Town under Mike Duff. I like the recruitment a lot this summer. Anthony Evans, Herbie Kane provide quality in midfield. Lasse Sorensen was one of the best fullbacks in League One last season with Lincoln. So that's a massive coup. Mikel Miller was fairly impressive for Plymouth last season in the Championship, so that's another fairly good addition as well. So whether Mike Duff can kind of get all of that molded together and then start pushing up the league and have Huddersfield in amongst that top two battle will be interesting. Normally, Mike Duff sides take a bit of time to kind of gel at the start of the season and then just have a really good back end of the season. Maybe that won't be enough this time around with the three teams I'm going to mention now having really, really good, strong squads as well, who I'm probably anticipating to have strong starts and stronger starts than Huddersfield. Who have I got in at third then? I've gone with Bolton, so you can work out my top two from now. But Bolton have some really good quality in that side. Dion Charles, Aaron Collins, George Thomason, really good players in there. And they've signed some really good players in there. Chris Farino, Scott Arfield, Luke Southwood, Clady Lolos has come in. So has someone from Hungary who can't pronounce the name off. Won't try to. Ineva is a good manager. But I just feel like, are they going to miss out again? Are they kind of doomed to miss out on top two? Bolton. They missed out last season, fell at the final hurdle in the League One playoff final, which they really should have won. And they, in my opinion, were a stronger side than Oxford, and Oxford just did them on the day. It just feels frustrating from a Bolton perspective. They just can't get it over the line. And the quality this season in League One at the top is higher, in my opinion, than what it was last season. So the fact they didn't get it done last season, I find it tough they'll do it again this season. So you'd probably know my top two. Who have I got first? Who have I got second? In a second, I've gone with Rotherham United, the League One specialist. They know their way out of this division very well. I know it's not Paul Warne anymore and it's Steve Evans, but they just know their way out of this division. In automatic promotions, they always win promotion in League One. Rotherham, and signings this summer have been really good. Cameron Dawson and Reece James both picked up from Sheffield Wednesday, and then Sean Raggett, promotion last season. Some really good players in there. Johnson Clark Harris, proven goal scorer at this level as well. They've got some really good players in at Rotherham, and Steve Evans is a really good manager. I just don't foresee a way where they just don't bully themselves out of this division once again. And if they do get automatic promotion and do it convincingly this time round, I feel like they'll be much better prepped than they were last season in the Championship. So that obviously means, and you could have probably guessed this at the start of the video, that I've got Birmingham City to win the league. I mean, listen, even if they hadn't made a single signing this summer transfer window, I would have had them to probably be in the top two at the very least. They've got that much quality. Shouldn't have gone down last season. They've got retained a lot of that quality and added immensely well. Luke Harris has been brought in on loan. Mark Leonard's been brought in on a permanent deal. He was so impressive in Northampton last season. Alfie May is guaranteed goals at this level. Bailey Peacock-Farrell provides real strength in that goalkeeping department. And then you've got the likes of Alec Cochrane and Christopher Caller and William Thorpe Williamson, who they spent a hell of a lot of money on. Emil Hansen as well. It's just a lot of quality, a lot of money, yes. And if it doesn't work, Chris Davies will be out the door very quickly. But I just don't foresee that happening. They've got so much quality, and then they should win the league at a canter, really. They've got that much quality in that side, Birmingham. So I've got Birmingham to win the league. So yeah, that is it. Those are my League One predictions ahead of the 2024-2025 campaign. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. If you want to talk about the relegation battle, the promotion battle, playoffs, whatever, feel free. But yeah, it is a really hard division to call, like all EFL divisions. That's why we love it, and that's why it's great. And yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below ahead of the new League One season. It is going to be really, really entertaining, and let's hope it is as well. Thank you very much for watching. Keep safe, and I'll catch you all later. Cheers.